I said I wanted to make 100K.
This is Helen Buchan Connor.
She runs UGP, Uncommonly Good People, a recruitment agency operating across Southeast Asia exclusively. In September 2020, in the middle of the pandemic, she launched her own business with one simple goal: 6 figures. But here's what was actually happening in her life.
He was really unwell. He had undiagnosed lymphoma for a year. He was just tired all the time. Couldn't get up, couldn't be awake for any longer than 4 hours. And this whole time, he's working quite a big job. He worked at CNN.
Helen had just handed in her notice, and then her husband was diagnosed with cancer. Then COVID hit a week later. Can you imagine what was going on in her mind?
I remember being in a cafe in central Singapore, and this truck pulling up across the road, and these people were black market dealing toilet rolls.
Most people would have pulled the plug. Helen started her agency from the lift lobby because there was no space for an office in her apartment. What I love about this story is in her first year, she did over $350,000 in fees and over $50,000 of net profit. But it was 2021. And by 2023, when the market had a downturn, she wasn't prepared. In that year, she lost $200,000.
They were like, "You're not delivering." And I was like, "Obviously." Help! Can you help me, please? Thank you.
So she took investment, signed a JV with a well-known player in the recruitment space. And the advice she got to get out of this problem was work harder, do more. It's very hard to bring UK-style metrics and KPIs to an existing team in Southeast Asia.
In Southeast Asia, trust is built off relationships, whereas in the West, UK, US, it's built off metrics and performance. You then go in and coach your team and say, "You've got to do all these calls and you've got to do this and do this and do that." They're like, "Don't you trust me?"
So Helen looked at what big tech companies were doing: Amazon, Google, the major media agencies. And she noticed they were all offshoring their teams silently.
When I've got a team of 2 people in Manila, why are we keeping this this is some sort of secret? You guys are the best thing that's ever happened to me. Why are we not telling everyone about this?
Today, Helen runs a 3-person operation. This year, they'll turn over $600,000, and they're on track to grow again next year. She switches her phone off at 7 p.m. every night. You're not going to get a reply from her. She's present. She's a mother. She's a wife.
When do you have the time? Because I woke up at 6:30, took the dog for a walk, I went on the school run, and then I had to go help organise a Christmas fair, and then I came back, and then I got a new client, and then I ate, and then I washed. You don't have to do it all. Surviving is thriving. If you've got it together at the end of the week, you're good. If your kids like you, you're good. You've got a couple of clients, and you can invoice them, you're good. And that's just the start.
So this is a conversation about building a recruitment business that fits your life, not the other way around. This is Helen Buchan Connor on the Rag Podcast. Helen, welcome to the show.
Thanks. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for having me. I love it. Helen, it is great to have you on the show. It is currently 9 a.m. in the UK. What time is it where you are in Singapore right now?
5 p.m.
Yeah, I thought so. So you're hitting... You've got end of day energy. I don't know what kind of person you are. I'm a morning guy, so I typically record in the morning. If you got me at 5 o'clock, I don't know how I'd be. Is this a good time for you to get the story out?
I'm all right. I think I'm highly caffeinated and ready to go. Post school run. It's the second wind.
You might not sleep tonight.
Might not sleep. I'll just be on a high after this chat.
We're going well off piece already, but does it affect? Will that affect? Obviously, when you got kids and you got to get them down and all that, and then you've got to wind down after. Do you get to sleep if you've drank coffee in the afternoon?
Yes.
You can't.
Yes, I've got one of these bad boys. I'm in Aura and Crow.
Yeah, I got my wine last Christmas.
Yeah, I feel like I know my exact cut-off time. It's about 3:30.
Really, I'm a whoop guy, and it's the same sort of thing. Yeah, I'm a whooper, and you know what? Last night, it didn't track anything for some reason. It was on my wrist. It was charged up, and it's the first night in 2 years it didn't track. And I woke up pretty upset about it.
Felt cheated. You just wanted to go back to bed.
It's sad as hell, isn't it? But I'm like, when I get that green circle that says I'm 70 to 100% recovered, I'm like, we're in the game today, baby. And today it said nothing. And I know I slept well, and I know I did everything right, so I'm fine.
Yeah. What really bugs me is when you wake up and on Aura it's out of 100, and they'll be like, "You got a 96," and I'm like, "Why am I still tired?
Well, I don't feel like shit."
Why do my bones hurt all over my body?
Yeah. That's just called being a parent and a business owner and everything.
Yeah.
And so, Helen, look, I've given you a brief introduction, as I always do, but I can never do it justice. So we're not going to tell the full story. Just for people listening, tell us who you are and what you do today. So people, location, industry, that kind of stuff. We'll tell all the detail after.
Beautiful. I'm Helen. I run a recruitment consultancy called UGP, stands for Uncommonly Good People. It depends how much time you've got to say the whole sentence. And I'm based in Singapore. I've been in Singapore now for about 12 years. And I work across ad tech, martech, and digital, like performance media recruitment. I've got a pretty nimble team of 4. And essentially we work across roles across Southeast Asia. So for people who aren't super familiar with Southeast Asia, that's like Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, the Philippines. And then we also work with those businesses across wider Asia Pacific. So that includes Australia and Japan to help them create offshore hubs. So if they, to essentially like drive fast growth.
So is all the work creating these hubs? Is that exactly what you'd like? The niche is, we'll build you an offshore team in Philippines or whatever.
So the niche is, I will help ad tech and martech businesses like scale and manage their teams. So that can either be like retained contingency in Singapore or any one of these individual markets, or it might be the case that they're like, especially in Singapore, we only have 6 million people in Singapore, which 3.5 million are local to Singapore, like as in born and bred Singaporean.
Yeah.
So you can't fill all the roles in Singapore. You have to go to other markets to do that. So with that, we'll then, for example, build like delivery teams. It's a model that's kind of growing a lot in digital media.
Yeah.
And we'll build them implementation, delivery teams, etc. in the Philippines. So it's basically, what solution do you need? And I think that comes because I used to work in-house. And I used to do that job as well before.
We're going to talk. That's what I wanted to start with, right? So without going into everything of your past, you were in the industry you serve, which is a bit like me, right? I work with recruitment agency founders. I was an ex-recruiter for 7 years, and it gives me a unique lens, because when you're talking about your businesses, I just see it in my head. I don't need to like work it out. I know what you're talking about. So talk us through your journey. Like, why did you move from that industry to recruiting in that industry?
Yeah. So, a complete accident, to be perfectly frank. No. I worked in ad tech in Australia, and I wanted to move to Singapore.
So you moved from UK to Australia, was it straight there?
Yeah. So I moved from the UK at 26 to Australia until I was 30. And then
helping us?
Sydney, Bondi, obviously.
Yeah. Christmas Bay with the hats on her feet.
Absolutely. All of that.
Surrounded by Irish people drinking beer.
Coogee Bay. Yeah, all of that. Big time. It was great times.
I went to Melbourne at 24 and came back to London at 20, or moved to London at 26. And I wish if I'd have gone to Sydney, I don't think I'd have come back quite quick.
So many people just stay. They really do. We always call it Neverland. Like, I mean, you kind of don't really want to be hanging around now unless you've got, you've moved on with your life. But yeah, there were a couple of people who were like,
I know people who went there around the same time as me, 2010, and still at it now. Yeah. So you can still play that game if you really want. So
totally.
Why did you decide to go to Singapore?
Essentially, just I'd had enough of Australia. Like, I love Australia, but it was just time for me to leave for a number of different reasons. Just like life. So to be honest. Yeah. And then I said, right, I'm just going to apply for ad tech jobs in Singapore and the UK, and whatever one comes up first, I'm going to take. But luckily, because I was in ad tech in Singapore, Australia, I had a really good network over here. So when I was getting recruited by my recruiter, I was like a recruiter's worst nightmare. Like, I speak to candidates like this now, and I'm like, oh, you're so annoying. I was like, I know them. And then he just said, like, do you fancy working in recruitment? And I kind of had thought about it before.
That's because you were already well networked.
I think so. Like, I was just a bit like, I think that was the thing. I was never the best salesperson. I was never the best good person at account management, like all of that. But I was good at making friends, and I was good at like keeping in touch with friends. And when I mean friends, I mean the industry, which was media and digital like advertising. So yeah, when I moved over, someone from the industry helped me, connect me anyway. He offered me a job. And then I was like, right, okay, looks like I'm moving to Singapore. And that was that. And I do feel like, I don't know, it's a bit instinct, but, you know, probably the same with yourself when you're just like, yeah, you know what, I'm going to move to Australia. I was like, yeah, I'm going to move to Singapore and make it all work out. And
Being your own, doing this all on your own.
yeah.
You enjoying the recruitment firm. What was that like? Paint the picture of day one in a recruitment office in Singapore without ever doing the job.
Like, it was like, here's your laptop, here's your login to LinkedIn Recruiter.
Go.
But make it work. No, he was really, like, my boss then was really, really good. And the fact that they were really well networked as well. So it was easy. I think we just aligned on that in kind of like a lot of it, and in Southeast Asia especially. I mean, it's probably, you know, it's the same in the UK, but a lot of it's relationship driven. So it was a bit like, right, okay, well, we're just going to go sit in the pub where everyone goes to after and just work there. Just work there and then see who turns up. I mean, that, and it's also how I met my husband, but like one of those meets. Yeah. So so it was very much like, just crack on, get on with it. Like, back then, I think, you know, 2016, we were all in a bit of a high of recruitment as well. It was great. Like, you know, industry was doing really, really well. Ad tech especially was doing really, really well because, you know, it was a couple of years after iPhones had come out and there was all this new tech in market. It's converged. I love that.
Paid advertising was really taking off.
Huge. It was like people just have money to burn. So it was amazing. But what was really great is, like you said, is because I'd come from that area, someone would say, oh, I need an account manager, or I need a salesperson, or I need an ad ops exec. And I could just go, yeah, okay. And because I knew what they did and where I would place them and what type of energy they would need. And generally I need a hiring manager and what type of energy they would need. So then it was kind of an opposite way. Like I would scream for cultural fit and then skills secondary.
Yeah.
So it was that type. So yeah, it was just a lot of hustle, a lot of making it work. Yeah.
So you settled into that and then you went, but you did go in-house. You didn't stay in agency, did you?
Yeah. So then I went into Omnicom, which is a big, one of the global media agencies. And then that was quite similar. It was a bit like, can you help us solve a problem? And I love that. I love like sort of jumping into something and them just saying like, do what you think. Like, we trust you, which is amazing.
But it wasn't pure recruitment. It was HR as well.
No, it was pure recruitment, but we also didn't have a HR.
Right.
So every now and again it was like, hi, how are you? And I'm like, okay, looks like. So actually then that's when I decided I did an MBA in HR. I thought,
yeah,
I should probably get qualified in this somehow.
Did you enjoy that topic, HR?
So, interestingly, that's where I thought my career would take me, into like, you know, chief people officer, CRHO type thing.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'm great at it, because I would automatically, you know, if we're like offboarding someone, a nice word for someone just getting booted, I would just automatically be on their team. My gut was just like, protect them, you know? So I was just like, it's okay, don't worry. Like, don't worry about them, you know, where you sort of have to just be like, so it just wasn't for me. But it's great to have the fundamentals, and it informs a lot of what I do now, especially if I'm consulting across like broader how to build your team.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then, I decided to leave there, just because I'd done like 4.5, 5 years or something at that point, and it was now or never. It was like, you know, and that old boss said to me one time, he was like, it's the fate of all recruiters to go and start your own recruitment consultancy. It's everyone's destiny.
It's funny,
do it.
If you look at the industry though, like the route you took is not traditional. You don't normally go in-house and then start an agency. It's usually the other way around. And again, I'm not saying I agree with this, but the narrative is that in-house is like the graveyard of recruiters, and the pinnacle is to start your own agency, right? So they're almost like each end of the spectrum. I'm not saying that's true if anyone's listening and hates me for what I said, but there is an argument that like that the skills you develop in-house don't then lend themselves to start in a commercial agency. Like you're going in a different direction, like you said. Mm-hmm. So you're doing the MBA. I think you mentioned in the notes before we did some research, like you also had a child at this point, right? So
Yeah.
you're pregnant, you're doing an MBA, you're finishing off work, and and COVID is kicking it.
Yeah.
So
Times.
just paint the
COVID's kicking
picture.
in Southeast Asia.
I know, yeah. What was that like? Because it hit you guys before us, I think.
It hit us before us. Like, we knew. Like, I think because of SARS.
Yeah.
And which wasn't actually in comparison. It was like so small. Like,
when I went traveling and moved to Australia, like in Southeast Asia, there was plenty of people in face masks, and you'd say why, and they'd be like SARS, and you'd get all these like Israelis and Canadians walking around and they're like, do you know there's SARS here? And I was like, I don't know what that is, and I didn't think about it. So when it started kicking off in Asia, I, with my experience of traveling, was like, oh, it's just SARS again. Like, it's something they'll deal with. It's not going to hit us. That was probably that contributed to the naivety that I had. So how did you feel?
I remember calling my mum or speaking to my mum, and my mum's like, what's this going on over here? And I was like, you need to stock up on food. You need to get ready. Like, it's going to go down. Like, because that's what we were like. I remember being in a cafe in like central Singapore, and this truck pulling up across the road. And these people were like black market dealing toilet rolls. Like,
when was this? Was this like earliest, like January, February?
Early Jan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like, I felt like people just knew it was going to come, or like, especially as well because the Singapore government's amazing, but also quite strict. So like, really, it's like if something's going to happen, you'll be in lockdown. Like,
yeah, they're not messing about. I went to Dubai now. I went to Dubai at the end of January on my ex's 30th, and we were in. We didn't really know anything about it until when I was in Dubai. The taxi drivers kept saying there's people traveling from China and places to Dubai to get away from this virus.
Yeah.
I remember one guy was like, you better start wearing a mask. And I was like, so I'm on my phone and I'm kind of ignoring him. And I'm reading Sky Sports News, and it says an ex-Premier League footballer leaves China to escape COVID, right? So I'm like, okay. The guy called Marwan Fellaini.
Oh my God. I knew you were going to say Fellaini.
Right. Well, I walked into the 5 hotel in...
Mate.
Right, okay. Ooh, lovely. What a story. So I walk into the 5 hotel, pay for the taxi, walk into the 5 hotel, and Fellaini stood checking into my hotel.
Stop.
So I'm like, oh shit, maybe I should take this a bit more seriously. And then obviously we get back and everything just escalated from there. So
yeah, it's nuts. And like the face mask thing is like, again, these are some things that like are quite shocking to like the West. It's like, whoa, everyone's wearing face masks. Whereas it's quite, if you're unwell around here, you will just wear a face mask because it's just polite. You're like, I don't want to share my germs. Whereas it's quite confronting in the UK. You just are like, well, you get sick and you do like, so it's.
So what was it like going through the birth in that period? Like, were you able to do everything normal?
I was lucky. So what happened with me, my timeline was I had my son in the December.
Right.
No, I lie. So what happened was this is our timeline. I had my son, I finished my MBA, I had my son, I worked a bit at Omnicom, and then we're getting towards the end of the following year. But that's when my husband, he's fine now, he was really unwell. Like he had like undiagnosed lymphoma for like a year. So he's really, 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 really ill. And then...
That Hodgkin's lymphoma?
Yes.
Yeah. So what were the symptoms that he had that you were saying he's not right?
He's just tired all the time, like couldn't get up, couldn't be awake for any longer than like 4 hours. And this whole time he's working quite a big job. Like he worked at CNN, so he was in.
And you've got a young family, and it's like,
yeah.
I know what that's like. So it's like critical time.
Yeah, and it's just like you're just like, can you get up? And he's like, I really can't. Then I decided to hand my notice in the January because it's all gone up a bit. So we were like, oh, actually, he's okay. So I handed my notice in. Then he was diagnosed. I was like, shit. Yeah. And then COVID, and then we got locked down a week after. But actually, we always say, like, oh, it's terrible. Like, sometimes you're like, you know, some people had it really good at COVID and some people had it really bad. We actually think we had it so good. We lived in a place called Sentosa in Singapore.
I know that.
Right, it's like an island, locked off an island. And we were like, we were so locked. Yeah, it's beautiful. And we were so lucky. We were like, this horrible stuff's going on in the world. And yes, you're sick, but everyone's having a bad time. Like everyone's having a terrible time.
So how did he then get the treatment he needed despite COVID?
Yes. So Singapore healthcare system is incredible. It's private and it's expensive once your medical insurance runs out. But it's amazing. So yes, it was absolutely fine. They let you in, but you know, there were a lot of rules with like you couldn't walk together. No one was allowed to walk in any more than 2 people. So you just kind of for us then we just made it work. We looked at the UK, to be honest. I remember coming home, the first time I could come home, which was 2 years later, and my husband couldn't come home because he didn't have an immune system.
Yeah.
And he was like, what's it like? And I was like, it's like a bloody Hunger Games. Like, I was like, everyone's just like out in the pub with no mask. And I was freaking out.
What?
So, you know, we actually feel like we were safe, but it was, if you got COVID, then it was bad. Then you're going in a hospital, like, you know, we had it nowhere near as Hong Kong was just like wild. But yeah, then you're like, someone's knocking on your door in a hazmat suit and you're off.
So when did you actually formally start the business? September, was it?
That's September of 2020.
And your husband's still going through treatment at this point?
Yeah. But like, again, it really gave us the space. It gave me personally the space to sort of sit down and be like, okay, what am I going to do with this? And how do I want to, like, what is a good outcome for me? And what do I want this to look like? And how do I want, like, us to be positioned and how we different? Because, you know, there are other recruitment consultancies are available, you know, like, so this little old me just going to go out. Also in Singapore, you have to pass an exam. So you have to have a license in Singapore. It's like having, you know, like
a recruiter.
To have a recruitment consultancy and be a recruiter, you need to have a license.
That's a good thing. It's a good thing.
I think it was amazing. You also have to give the government like a serious amount of cash, because there's the talent market's really. So you've got recruitment consultancies like mine, and then you've got recruitment consultancies that only work with foreign domestic workers. So technically, I could do that as well if I wanted to, but the system can be abused. So you have to take exams and stuff like that because there's lots of incoming talent. So anyway, yeah, had to like revise my exam, do my exam, get my license, get my employment pass, which I got. And then a week later, I got permanent residency. Also, I've just spent all that time. But yeah, but do you know what I mean? Like,
so then you start the business. How are you juggling like a startup, having a young child and a husband who's going through treatment for something so serious?
Like boundaries, right? I think all of us, especially recruiters, like, you know, you see all these memes and stuff like that, like recruiters in their graves, like, you know, on their phones and stuff. You just have to be like, my WhatsApp is like, I will not reply to you after 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Game over. Like, no, you just have to have boundaries. And again, my husband, he quite wanted the space, to be honest. He's like, I'm very happy watching World War II documentaries in bed on my own. Thank you very much. My son, again, I'm so lucky. I live in Singapore. We have a live-in helper who is an angel sent from heaven. She's still with us and I love her. She's like my best friend. And never leave me. So, you know what? It in a way, I think like it could have. In that time, I was like, this is terrible. There's no market. There's no jobs. All the agencies are closing. Like, what am I going to do? But I also was like, well, what else am I going to do? Like,
I've run at your numbers. I mean,
go for it.
You've given us the numbers before. So in the first full year, 2021, you did over $350,000. Am I right? Is that UFP? And made over 50K profit. I mean, that's just looking at the circumstances. I know the market did did take off, but that must have felt good. Like you get to the end of the year, were you working at home? Were your family around you? Was that and you know.
We couldn't leave the house, right? So I actually like worked in my lift lobby. So again, we all have like lifts. So there was no space for an office. So there's like a tiny little nook. And then sometimes I'd be on calls and they'd be like, the doors would open. My husband's like getting some food delivery or something. but it's all right. It was COVID. We let it go. But yeah, no, it was good. And I think like we were really supportive. And I think that kind of goes back to like the industry, like just being nice to people. Like, you know, I didn't kind of go out to market. Like, I think I said that to you before, like in the most unterrible BD, like so bad. Like I wish I listened to these podcasts and I'm like, yeah, BD energy. And then the next day I'm just like, oh, okay, I'm just going to work on this brief that I've got, you know, you know, and overwork it. But I think that's the thing is that like, I think because I'd maybe done and given a lot of favors to people in the past, you know, whether I'm working in-house or another agency, or I've just helped someone out or just made a random introduction, we got a lot of love. And also my husband's in the industry as well. So they probably just felt bad for us. But, you know, I think it's just like...
But you wouldn't have had any non-compete coming out of that role, right?
No, they encouraged, like they were...
So you literally could, you technically could just phone everyone you knew and reconnect,
Absolutely.
and say, well, this is what I'm doing. So...
Yeah, it was great.
So, I mean, if you do look...
They've been my client.
Forget putting all of your personal stuff aside, which I think is genuinely incredibly, like, incredible that you managed to do that whilst managing what you were managing. I don't care how good your living helper is. Dealing with that mentally and emotionally, like, is enough for anyone. So well done there. But, you know, if you look back on in the history of our industry, I think it was a bit of a masterstroke to start when you did, because what a year. The 2021-22 boom was phenomenal. Like you say, you could capitalize on it and you had no non-compete. So, like, yeah, amazing work. Like,
it was really good.
Yeah,
it was so good. And also as well, I think like, you know, everyone was buzzing in the industry because like, so a specific area that I work in is programmatic advertising. Yeah. And programmatic had always been like the little, like, you know, the 10% of what we call a media plan. So if you're spending all of your advertising money, like programmatic, which is like, you know, trying to think, it's like it's the stock exchange for ads. So if you open like and you're delivered, you can see like an ad just flop up from somewhere. Anyway, that's a programmatic ad.
Yeah.
And it was always like the little sister, like, oh, like let's put some money into programmatic and this is but because everyone was at home, right, all the money came from out of home advertising. So you couldn't spend any money on billboards, you can spend any money on cinema ads, you can spend any money on like bus ads or anything like that. So all went into digital because you could just target it to people on their sofas.
Yeah,
like,
same
right.
I went from, so I've told this so many times, anyone who listens regularly will be like, shut up, Sean.
Tell it again, Sean.
So I went from living in Hainault with my ex, and we'd already split up and we're living in a flat in the middle of COVID, and it's like, fucking hell, this is depressing. So I'm 1 year married, about to split up and get divorced, and I'm sat there going, I've got a marketing agency for the recruitment industry with about 35 clients where we're managing their marketing. We're an outsourced department, basically. I've got copywriters, designers, 15 of us based in Bethnal Green, and I'm like, every advisor I speak to tells me the I'm fucked, basically. Because the main thing was because I don't actually deliver any of the work. So I sold it, I branded it, I didn't do any of the work. So everything we signed was given to the team. So they're like, if you have to let everyone go, you don't actually have a business. So anyway, I sat there and I thought, this isn't a financial crisis. This is a health crisis. So I backed marketing, actually. I thought, do you know what? The fact that you can't get in front of people like you could, we're going to need this more. And the stats showed that people went to LinkedIn, like there's like a 60% increase of time on LinkedIn within a week. So, and the one thing I was really strong at was I was getting like 1 million views organically a month on LinkedIn myself. And I was like, and I'm an ex-school teacher who became a recruiter who managed a marketing agency. I was like, teach recruiters marketing was like screaming in my head. So I built a training program to teach recruiters how to use LinkedIn better.
Yeah.
And that blew up, like literally blew overnight. I did a free session. I got 850 people sign up to it. And I was like, right, there's something in this. Yeah. But the interesting thing was the agency I'd built dipped momentarily and then it grew. So 6 months later, I've got 2 businesses and I didn't plan for that. And it's similar to you. It's like all the money, everyone's attention actually went to marketing and went to digital and went to LinkedIn, which was, I've been talking about this for 5 years and a lot of people were like, I'll just pick up the fucking phone and book a meeting, mate. I don't need you. And the same people were like, can we have a chat? So it was like, yeah, I had a similar experience. So
what you've done there though, like what you've found there is your ikigai, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, that's what I love is like when, like, and it's so nice to hear that. I feel in a similar space. I feel like I'm coming into that space personally. So hopefully soon. But like when your past experiences, you're like, oh, like for me, I'm like, oh, that's why I did that MBA in that.
Yeah, all over.
That's why I moved from Australia to Singapore. Oh, that's why I love working with my team in the Philippines. Like, I don't know, it just all comes together and then you're like, oh my, like this is a product. Like,
We'll get this.
you know, amazing.
So I started my recruitment career in Melbourne and I got flew to Sydney in the first week with Randstad. And do you know the Pitt Street office of Randstad? It was so I went and did 2 weeks there 1 week there in my first month in Melbourne in working in recruitment. And I knew nothing, right? I was making no money. I just remember actually I was a bit lost in my life. There was a lot of emotions at the time. I look back and think, hell, that was a decision. Anyway, April this year, I went back there to Sydney, stayed opposite that office in the Radisson Blu, and I hosted an event for recruitment owners. I had over 105 come into the room on a pissing down night in April, all pack into a room to hear me speak. And then, you know, I think we had our record month sales. I signed about 20 of those clients to work with Hoxo. And I was like, what a full circle moment to go, no one knows you. You don't know shit about the industry, to the same spot 15 years later. And, you know, I'm able to fill a room. And so like, it's the same feeling. Like, all these little things. It's crazy.
You have to put all those moments up. Sorry, I'm not really jumping. Because that's what I used to love. Like when I was at OMG Omnicom, like, I remember being at the Christmas party and maybe I'd had like 3 or 5 wines. And I just remember just being like, I just started crying and they were like, what? And I was just like, I love this. I love that. Like, there's a couple, like, I've placed everyone here. I've done this, like, and then that's that couple over there arguing. They're getting married. Like, and it was, and like, they've got some awards and they've done that. And I just thought, oh, that moment is amazing. And when you have like that's a massive full circle moment. But even when you have a little full circle moment, you're like, yes, you know what? Like, I've delivered that. Like, it's been a year and a half, and I think you just have to take those moments in. And like, got Sigrid on my team. So she's like, I love my team so much. But so Sig placed a team basically over this summer, UK summer. They still were like, what? It's not summer. And it's like team of 15 people, all living in the same business, like a new like offshore hub. And then she's a DJ. So she's a DJ, like quite a biggish DJ in Manila. And they were doing a party, like a launch party. And she was like, can I DJ your launch party? And it was just she was like, I love this so much. Like seeing everyone work and doing what they're doing. And I've supported them to get them there. And then now they're all dancing and having fun with me. I was just like, that's what it's all about. Like the feeling and the numbers and stuff's amazing. But for me, like that's the source.
So question for you, when you set the business up and in that first year, 2021, what did you want to create? Like you mentioned in the notes with me about like, you know, lifestyle businesses are seen quite negatively, especially as a female. I agree with what you're saying, by the way. I think you build a business that suits you, not the other. You shouldn't be building a business for anyone else if you're the founder. So what were you trying to create back then?
Back then, I know exactly what it is because I'm a bit of a hippie. I said I wanted to make 100K.
I'm interrupting today's episode to talk about our sponsor, Atlas Recruitment CRM. Admin is a massive waste of time for recruiters. And that's why Atlas, the world's first AI-first recruitment platform, is built for modern agencies who don't want to do it. It doesn't only track CVs and calls. It remembers everything. Every email, every interview, every conversation. Instantly searchable, always available, and now it's entering a whole new era. With Atlas 2.0, you can ask anything and it'll deliver. With magic search functionality, you speak to it and it listens. It finds the right candidates using real conversations, not simply look up for keywords. For me, this would be massive because I spend most of my time talking to my CRMs, talking to my emails. I'm just better with voice. Probably why I got into recruitment in the first place. Now, Atlas 2.0 also makes BD easier than ever. because they've got an opportunity section where you can track, manage, and grow client relationships powered by generative AI and built right into your workflow. If you need insights and reports, they've got custom dashboards that give you total visibility over your pipeline. And that's not theory. Atlas customers have reported up to 41% EBITDA growth and an 85% increase in monthly billings after adopting the platform. So there's no admin, there's no silos, there's no lost info, nothing but faster shortlists, better hires, and more time to focus on what actually drives revenue. Atlas is your personal AI partner for modern recruiting. Now, don't miss the future of recruitment. Get started with Atlas today and unlock your exclusive RAG listener offer at www.recruitwithatlas.com/the RAG. All right, let's get back to the show.
I was like, that's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to make 100K. And I remember speaking to an amazing friend in the UK called Laura. And she basically said to me, like, she had just done the same thing and I was a bit worried. And she was just like, make the first placement and just go from there. Like, then you'll work out your vibe. So all I wanted to do was just make a bit of money. All I wanted to do was make a bit of money.
Provide for your family, make money on your own.
Right.
Yeah.
For real. Like, and just like and then work out what the next thing was. But what I really, really wanted to do was at the beginning, we actually used to give a lot of money to charity.
Yeah.
So, and that got stopped. Because, I mean, it doesn't make financial sense if you want to grow a media, recruitment consultancy and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to create a bit of meaning out of recruitment because it felt like, you know what it's like. Sometimes, you know, no offense to estate agents, we're like the estate agents, like people are just like, oh, a recruiter. You know what I mean? I'm like, no, we are amazing.
Equal to an estate agent, like where you live and the job you take are the two biggest decisions you make outside of who you pick to live with and be your partner. So
but yeah, people were like, I'm just like, no, like
I agree.
yeah,
I agree. You can make it purposeful and it matters to people if you care. Like there are people out there that do not give two shits. They just want to fill jobs and move on.
Yeah.
You're probably more like me where it does matter about the person and you'd say no to something if it didn't feel right. And, you know, purpose, I call it purpose beyond placement. That I think the best agencies in the world that have purpose beyond placements, and they talk about purpose beyond placement. So to dig into your second year, you grew to 7 employees and you made a $200,000 profit.
Yeah.
So as we come to the end of 2022, which we know the market turned, what was the landscape like? Did you have people, were they based in the Philippines? Had you delivered an offshore hub for yourself?
At that point, most of my team was in Singapore, and then I'd had Sigrid, who's still with me, in the Philippines, because I think like the traditional model to grow is to have recruiters on the ground, 360 recruiters, DVD, fill your jobs, blah 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 blah. So I was just like, okay, this is what I need to do.
You didn't really know. You didn't
I had
know.
no idea.
No.
No.
And how was that? How was that team dynamic at the end of the year? Was it good?
It was good. Like we were good. Like it was, you know, it was rocking and rolling. It was, I'd say like Q3, great. Q4, you start going, ooh, there's not as many jobs as there are right now. And I think we were all feeling it and all the recruitment.
Were you tracking that data or was it more of a vibe that you were getting?
It was a vibe. I mean, if I said I was tracking the data, that'd be an absolute lie. I think anyone who was like, we were tracking the data, like you weren't. You just were like, it's not very busy, but it's Christmas. Oh, well, we'll work out in January. And then January came and we're like,
when did you have to make some difficult decisions?
So I actually kept the whole team.
Right.
One of the worst decisions that I made, but maybe it was a good decision, is I think obviously also saw in the loss, also made a huge loss that year because I had never run a recruitment consultancy before and I didn't know when the market was going to turn around.
The numbers in 2022 is you basically lost all the profit you made, 200K loss. And that was the year that you went in and got investment in a JV, right? With a journal. We won't name them, but you went into partnership with a well-known investment vehicle in our industry. And what was the motivation? Because you've got a team, you're losing money. I imagine was it about guidance to get out of this hole? Is that why you went down that route?
Yeah, so I think at the point where they'd started engaging us, like it was all like happy days, right? It's like growing. Like next year is going to be like million EBIT. Oh, that's great. Like, so it was happy days and it was all like, oh, it's just like how can the industry go anything but up? And then everything was signed and done. And then the industry just like fell off a cliff. And I was like, I'm not really quite sure what you want me to do about it. Like, help me, basically. Help me. What do I do now? And they were just like, BD. And then we were all like, I feel like the whole, in like that 6 months, everyone's just like, I tell you what, I got amazing. I'm rubbish at it, but I'm much better at BD now than I used to be. And I'm very good at teaching BD now. Because the person who taught BD at that was absolutely incredible. They were amazing, to be honest. But that didn't work because no one's doing anything. So because I am signed to this JV and I have a team and I have a target, I can't let my team go because it's like, okay, well, let's, crack on with what we're going to do next month. So, just losing 30K a month, basically.
You mentioned that the KPIs as well were like heavy that they were trying to manage you with.
Yeah, like meetings, calls, all of that kind of stuff.
How did that feel coming from, it's your business. You've already made a couple hundred K profit. You've done it with a purpose-led approach. And then suddenly you've engaged a partner to try and help you grow. But now the market's turned, you feel like you're being micromanaged essentially.
Yeah. And also as well, that goes down like a sack of the proverbial in Southeast Asia because, I find this wildly interesting. Hence why everything that we're doing now. Yeah. But like in Southeast Asia, trust is built off relationships, whereas in like the West, UK, US, it's built off metrics and performance. Yeah. So if you then go in and coach your team and say, you've got to do all these calls and you've got to do this and do this and do that, they're like, don't you trust me? And I'm like, I do trust you, but you have to do it. And you are reteaching something like, so you're managing back that way, like to be like, we are on the numbers and we're going to do it. And then you're managing this way. So like, it just didn't work. You can't come in with something that works in the UK and expect it to work in Southeast Asia.
And you can't. And again, you're taking existing people that you've already managed a certain way and trying to change it. I think if you came from the UK and you landed and you could probably train people however you want from day one. But if you bring in an existing team, it's difficult. So
yeah. Anyway,
so how did that? Because that partnership didn't last too long. So what happened there?
They were like, "You're not delivering," and I was like, "Obviously, I know."
Did they? No, I am tracking the data.
Can you help me, please? Thank you. Yeah, I'm tracking the data, and there's a 0 on that one, and then there's like $10,000 there. Like, yeah, there's not a lot of big numbers. And that was only 2 months, sorry. But yeah, it was, I was just like, help me. And they were like, work harder. And I was like, well, this is not going to work.
Yeah. Do more
like,
that in
do more. Yeah. Like, I was like,
can I ask,
what?
Personally, what's your life like? Is your husband recovered at this point? Have you still got challenges there? So like, cause that must have been an incredibly challenging time for different reasons.
It was, you know what, like, he was unwell for about 1.5 years or so. He's well now. Might still just pull out the old cancer card every now and again. Like, ooh, might need to lie down. I'm like, it's been 4 years. So you all right? You can go shopping. Exactly. I'm like, oh, I hate that one. Nothing I can do. So he's like fully recovered. He's all good. But like, yeah, I think it was just so weird. Like, that was just a weird, like, I don't know about you, Sean, but like, I feel like as soon as I like got married, I signed a whole other contract or like, settled down. I'm like, sorry, what? Like, as soon as I got married, I didn't realize I was pregnant. So was pregnant, did my MBA, then did that. And then he was unwell. And then I started the business. And then 2023, I'm like, when does it stop? When does it stop? When does it become normal? When do we get to breathe?
My quick timeline is, so I'm with someone for 5 years. We get married in 2019. I find out that she's doing other things, shall we say, before the wedding, which we still get married. And then it all unfolded 6 months later. So wow. I'm sat in COVID going, well, this is not going to happen. But I'm locked in this house with this partner that we've agreed to split up. So anyway, 2020, I leave London to I actually went to Ibiza for the summer, which sounds glamorous, but it wasn't. The world was shut. My mind was completely fucked. And I'm just like, oh, I'm 34. I'm kind of supposed to be having kids now, and I'm single, and I'm successful in the eyes of the world, but I'm actually thinking, what have I done? So a couple of months later, it wasn't long after, there was a girl I dated when I was in my 20s who I really did care for, but I was going traveling. So the night I met Lauren, my now wife, the night I met her, I'm like, I'm leaving Sheffield in 4 weeks to go back to Manchester to then go traveling in 3 months. And long story short, I got kept on I was a school teacher at the time, so they kept me in the school till October, and I dated Lauren like daily pretty much till I left. And then I went traveling, and so when I moved to London in 2012, she was pregnant, and that was that. We didn't speak for 10 years. But I'm in Ibiza, and she looked single. She got 2 kids. This guy that I'd seen on her Instagram for 10 years was gone. So I messaged her, and she was single. And so this was, I'd say October 2020 was where we first started talking, let's say, properly. And then October 21, we moved in together. So I moved to Sheffield. October 22, we got married. October 23, we had a baby. And so it was like bam, 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 relentless. Like,
I love that though.
Yeah, renovated a house.
It is relentless.
Took on 2 stepkids, had a baby, 2 dogs, bought a house, renovated the whole thing. Genuinely, this year's felt like the first time I've been able to kind of digest everything and just slow down. Like, we've not really had any major things going on. It's been nice. But
yeah,
I feel you that, but I love it. I wouldn't change any of it. Some of the most difficult moments shaped my best moments, and I wouldn't change a single bit of what's gone on.
Yeah, same. It's nuts, but like, I love that. Like, I think it's like, that's where I'm a bit like, that you've just got to follow your gut sometimes.
Yeah.
You got to sit down, just look around and be like, you know what, like, no, I'm good at this. I can do this. And like, or, this is a woman for me. Like,
you know what's really cool though is the kid's dad. He basically sent me a message saying he wanted to kill me when he found out, because I dated her before him, and then he spent 9 years with her. So he assumed when he found out it was me that something had gone on, but they were already split up. But anyway,
yeah,
I went and met him for a beer before I moved in with the kids, and we actually got on really well.
yeah,
And then
that's nice.
Friday night, I come back from London, and the weather's horrific, and I'm sat in Sheffield Station. I'm like, there's no taxis, so I start walking home. Anyway, he's on his way to pick the kids up. So Lauren, because he picks them up on a Friday. So Lauren rings him. He picks me up at the station, and like, we're driving home together in the rain, and he's just like, I'm so happy you're in the kid's life. Like, he's like, and you and Lauren are properly destined to be together. So I'm like, it's nice, These things can work out pretty good, but
Yeah.
we've been through some stuff on the way.
Yeah.
So let's get back to you. It's your shit. So 2023, you exit that relationship.
Yep.
With the partner, and then the last year, you've turned over $400,000, $100K profit, which is, you're making profit is the number that you ultimately wanted to make.
Yes.
And you've got a nice lean team. So how would you describe the operation now and where you are today?
So, I'm going to answer that. I'm going to answer that in a weird way. Right. What I did after that was I was like, like I said, I kept all the recruiters on, and they all naturally left to go to other roles because they're not making any commission.
Yeah.
Or they're gone back to do so other stuff, or like, they're all like, one's like quite silly anyway, blah, blah, blah. I was like, what do I want to do? Like, this is cool. I've got clients. I've got the cost of the business down. Like, where am I going to go with this? And again, it was just like taking a step back, looking at the wider market. Like, what are people that I, look up to, the big companies going to do? Because that's what my clients, like the mid-size, the open internet, basically, what is Amazon, what's Google doing, what are all the big media agents doing? And they're all starting to offshore.
Yeah.
So, and they're all doing it silently, which for me, when I've got a team of 2 people in Manila, like, and me being me, and then being like, we're like alike people or whatever, we were just like, this is so horrible. Like, why are we keeping this like this is some sort of secret?
Yeah, it's
like that, right?
Let's celebrate it.
For real. I'm just like, you guys are like the best thing that's ever happened to me, like in work. Like, why are we not like telling everyone about this? And also as well, I think as well in Manila, everyone, there's a lot of BPOs, business process outsourcing businesses, where it's like people are underpaid. It's intense. They've got me in the office, working night shifts, all of this. And I was like, no, I want to find really cool jobs for all of this amazing talent. And I can still do what I'm doing. We can still we're still working across like contingency recruitment in Singapore or Malaysia and everything like that. Absolutely fine. But I was like, I want to become expert in that, like deep dive. And so to my team, I'm just like, okay, tell me all the horror stories. Tell me everything that's gone wrong. We just really went out there, and I really fell into a rabbit hole about learning about like how teams, especially in Singapore, where like at one point when I went to the agency, there were 29 different nationalities in one of our agencies. It was wild. I'm like, we're all communicating with each other wrong. And then I would always hear a lot of things like, and I'll be upfront. Someone would be like, I don't want to hire someone in that country. Or I don't want to hire someone in. And I'm just like, well, that's just number one, straight up racist. Yeah. Number two, like, it's just a miscom. You don't know how to communicate with them, and they don't know how to. It's easy. We can fix that. Yeah. So that's where I stopped, and I was like, this is where I want to go. So instead now what we do with the businesses that we work with is we are quite picky about our clients, to be honest. We will only really work on a retained basis for anything big, well, for everything, to be honest. So contingency, number one. And then number two, like whenever I get a briefing, I'm like, are you sure you want to hire this role? I'll be like, and that, again, like you, coming from that teacher background and stuff like that, that's me coming from in-house and going, do you definitely want to rehire, or should we mix this up? And I'm not thinking, oh, well, if I hire that role, I'm going to get a 30k fee. But if I hire two offshore, I'm only going to get a 10k fee. I'm like, that's the best solution.
Yeah. Do you sometimes talk yourself out of even an opportunity because they've maybe got the talent internally?
Like I've always been talking
myself consult stuff. Do you have like a fee for consulting in that space as well? So you can say, you can actually advise that actually you might decide that hiring isn't the right strategy, but I'll help you get to that conclusion.
Totally. Exactly. Like you've already got the people there. So that's exactly it. So it's team mapping and kind of being like, okay, well, like this is your team right now. And it's horrid and unfortunate. And I'm like, there's so many redundancies, especially happening in media across the board. And I don't wish that upon anyone, but it's happening. So then the hiring managers will come to me and go like, right, okay, well, I've got 40% of the budget that I had before. Like, how do I spend it? And I'm like, okay, cool. So you're going to need an SEO manager here. You're going to need a social media manager here. You're going to need this. You're going to need that. This is, and we pre-agree that up front. Like, and it's good because I've known them a while. They know that I know the information. So it's these products that kind of like come organically that are recruitment, but like aren't recruitment.
But then it's
because if you know where recruitment's going.
100%. But it's exactly what you said about me. It's like, it's a combination of all your experience and skills and like you've lived it now with the team in Manila. Like I started hiring in South Africa in 2020 and my team, we've actually trimmed the team right down, but the talent out there was outstanding. And it made, every one of them I've enjoyed working with, but as a business, we're just a lot leaner now, but it's still 50% here and there. And I won't change that. I love that model for the UK. And I think if you're in Australia or Asia, the Philippines is the natural next step. So how does this year, we're almost at the end of the year. How is it going to look for you in terms of numbers and also that emotion attached to being at the helm of a business that's about to finish 2025?
Yeah. So I reckon we'll finish up on about 600, which is great. Profit TBC. It depends how much I'm flashy I'm feeling at the end of the year. What happens when you run your own business, eh?
Yeah. Let's just stop a sec. Like you plus two people are making $600,000, and you're I get the impression you're balancing things. Like 7 o'clock, your phone switches off. Like you're present. You're a mother. You're a wife. Like that is insane. It is.
Thanks. I honestly I have a very good recruitment friend. I'll get her to listen to it like this after. But I literally sent her a rant earlier, just being like, there was like basically someone on LinkedIn, and you got to love content, was just like, just doing this, just like going here and having this meeting and doing this like exercise and stuff. And I'm like, when do you have the time? When do you have the time? because I woke up at 6:30, took the dog for a walk. I went on the school run, and then I had to go help organise a Christmas fair. And then I came back, and then I got a new client, which is great. And then I ate, and then I rushed.
Comparison is the thief of joy, though, right?
Completely.
So this podcast,
You're so right.
but this podcast has a really positive angle to the industry, I believe, but can be quite negative at times because there's people who listen to my show and it makes them feel like shit. Sometimes I do an episode, and honestly, at the end of it, when the guest goes, I think, have I got any ambition compared to this person?
What do in my life?
What the fuck am I doing in my life? But the truth is, I always peel it back now, and if you're not doing it, I implore you to keep going back to you and your life. I look at mine. I've got 3 kids that I see every day. I put my daughter down for a nap every day. I put her down for bed every night. I'm at dinner 80% of the time. I'm there. I see my wife every morning, every lunch, every night time. Like,
so good.
I'm providing a family life. I'm flying them around the world. Like, that is why I'm doing this, and it's working. And I've built a routine around, like, so I was in the gym at 6 this morning before everyone was up, right? And I'm there every fucking day, even if I'm just walking on a treadmill, digesting my thoughts and texting people or whatever. I make a routine to get there early. I'm there for the rest of the day. At lunchtime, I'm here. At nighttime, I'm here. Like, I have to be. If I don't get back by 7:30 in the morning and do it then, I'm never doing it. It's not happening. And I've still got to get the dog out and all the things. I like. It's hard, but I don't know. I love that. I love the period of life that I'm in.
I love routine.
Yeah.
Like, I moan about routine, but I love routine. Like, it's like you said, the other day I went to the gym. So I always go after the school run, do the school run, gym's just around the corner, and then I go. And then even if I don't feel about it, the other day I just went on, like, I just foam rolled for about 20 minutes. And I was like, you know what? Today's not the day. I'm going home. But, like, if once you're there and you get it done and all of that. And, like, yeah, you're so right. I get to sometimes I'm just like, what am I doing? But then I think, would I do anything else? I'm like, absolutely not. Like, what I do is I look at, and I'm like, do I want their life? I'm like, no way. I want my life. And I think that's such a powerful thing. And I think it's such a powerful thing that recruiters can have as well, because we're so in control of our own destinies. Like, I don't know any other job where you're just like farming.
No. Let me share something with you quickly. So on every morning, if I get the chance, at least 5 out of 7 days, I journal on my phone, right? So I answer 6 questions. So the first one is, what have I been doing since my last journal entry? And I'll literally just punch in what I was up to. And it's a brain dump of nonsense. But I'm thinking, what energy and intention have I been carrying with it? Like, is what I'm trying to... And then I'll say, what have I done this morning? And it might be that I just say I've been to the gym or whatever. And again, it's about, was I rushed? Was I calm? Was it intentional? Did I put the effort in? Then I'll look at, what does a good day look like? So I'm trying to say, what am I truly responsible for today? Forget the fucking noise. What 3 to 5 things do I need to do to feel good about myself today? Then I ask myself how I'm feeling, which is it fear? Is it control? Is it pressure? And at different times, the world just gets on top. So I'll get it out. Then I finish with gratitude. So the question I ask myself is, what have I already been given that I might be overlooking? So, like, what have I already got? Fuck the rest. What have I already got? And then final one is, what can I bring more presence and alignment to? So, like, parenting, conversations, even food, decisions, gym. Where can I add more presence? And since I've been doing that for about a year, I find I'm just infinitely calmer. Like,
really?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Love you.
I'll send it to you. Yeah, have it.
Yeah.
And it, if anyone listening wants any of that stuff, I'll send it as well.
I know. And I need to make sure, my mum is like Buddhist and like teaches like meditation and like mindfulness and all of this stuff. And I think, when it's like your own family or your parents, you're like, yeah. I'm like, no, okay, I need to lean into this a little bit.
Yeah. It isn't about doing everything everyone says though. Like, for me, like, I've figured it out that for me, it's like, if I hit the gym in the morning, regardless of today I just walked on a treadmill for 35 minutes. Like, it was nothing, but I was moving and I was thinking and I was up. And then I have my coffee and I do that. And then I eat pretty well and I'm present with the kid. Like, if I can get those things done in a day, it just kind of fit. Everything else fits.
What are your vices? It's got to be something. Mine's Diet Coke.
Vices. I don't drink anymore. I stopped drinking in 2023. So that was one I didn't drink loads, but that was one that crept in. Overeating would be my advice. So like, I could easily just bang out like more food in one go than someone needs in a day. Like, especially like when I'm cooking like a Sunday roast on Sunday, like I'm eating as I'm going. I've probably eaten more than a meal before I've even served it up. That I really have to be aware of that. Like, fuck me, like the buffet, don't send me to a buffet. Like, it's dangerous what happens. And I always feel like shit, and then I'll moan, and my wife's like, you do it every time. So yeah, that's probably my big thing. But I can't, if I'm not drinking and I'm exercising, I mean, the odd meal like that, I just think
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely fine. I did that today. I woke up actually and I had a bit of an intention. I was like, today I'm going to look after my body because I've had a really bad neck and back recently. And I'm like, oh, it's inflammation. I'm drinking too much Diet Coke and I can't, like, no, Helen, today's going to be the day. It got to 3 o'clock. They got out. No! Live your life!
It's plug zero. It's absolutely fine. You're
We don't get Diet Coke over here. It's a travesty. But yeah, it's
you can't get everything right. So,
exactly.
Final question then is for if there is let's focus on it. If there's a female recruiter out there that's listening who is considering starting their own business, but perhaps has plans to be a mother or has some fear that, will they be able to do it on their own? Firstly, I mean, I know the answer. Can they reach out to you and pick your brains? Well, secondly, what advice have you honestly got? Like, from the heart, what would you say? What would you say to them?
Can't do it all. Don't believe the hype. Like, I think luckily we are in that space now where people, we know what we've been sold is a dream. Like 9 to 5, working Monday to Friday was invented for like men in the 50s.
Yeah.
You can't do it. You can't do it. And like, fair play to you getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I mean, to be fair, okay, I was at 7, out at 7 with the dog. Yeah, no. But like, you don't have to do it all. Like, surviving is like thriving. Honestly, like, if you've got it together at the end of the week, you're good. If your kids like you're good. If you've got a couple of clients and that you can invoice them, you're good. And that's just the start. Like,
So it's an evolution of the question then. So what questions or thoughts, what do they need to do to work out whether they should stay employed or take that risk? It isn't for everyone.
It isn't for everyone. I think I personally in my life, I've never had like any certainty with a lot of stuff really. And I've always sort of had to just like deal with it.
Yeah.
I would say if you're a person that likes structure, if you're a person that, I mean, okay, I say I'm bad at BD, but I do get in on my own clients. If you're not great at BD, you might want to stay in your agency.
Yeah. Also, think about what you've done in your life. So you've gone and moved to Australia, moved to Singapore. Like, you've made huge life decisions alone. If you're someone who's perhaps never really done any of that outside of work, I'm not saying you can't, but that might be an indication that safety and security is a higher. Like, I'm the same as you. I lived in Australia. I moved to London. I lived in 18 houses between the age of 18 and 36. Right? I counted it. So every year on average, I moved. And that I'm all right with that. Like, that probably contributed to the fact that nothing matters that much and things are transient in my life. Yeah. For someone who's maybe stayed in one place for 30 years or whatever. Like,
yeah. It's like, and what is important to you? Like, are you okay with not having a lot of control with your, especially someone in-house, right? Are you okay with not having a lot of control on your clients and your client telling you to like back off? Like, I've had that before. They're like, we've got it now, Helen. You've placed them. And I'm like, do you have your passport number? Like, they're like, don't worry. We've done it before. So that's the first one. Like, if you can cede control, okay, fine. Like, you can start your own recruitment consultancy. And like, also as well, cede control on the fact that if someone doesn't work out, you've got to replace them, or you're going to have to refund a fee. And also, stuff will happen, like people will screw you over. Like, it happens. You kind of have to be like, let that kind of rush off you. If you can hold on to a crutch and stuff like that, okay, it's not for you. It's not for you. But I think as like a working mum, what it's amazing at is giving you the freedom to essentially work for yourself, do what you want to do. I think if you really know, like in your gut, that your clients like you, that you can make money, like from, working with them, and, you have an element of trust with a group, like go for it. Go for it. If you know that, if you really know that, go for it. If you're unsure, stick, maybe just
There you are.
start like
Well, look, what I would say is if someone is thinking about it, it'd be okay to drop you a note, right?
For sure. Like, yeah, like I think, I'm not saying this from, I love your podcast, but there is a whole community of women who we're all just texting each other like, how much you pay for zero? And like, we're all just trying to make it work. So come on in, like,
come out,
drop in the DMs, absolutely fine.
I want to say thank you. You know, what a refreshing conversation, what an honest approach to the industry. Your numbers are, I think, incredible based on what you've been through personally and professionally. And I think what an exciting time, 600K this year. I know you want to push towards 750, 800 next year. I mean, look, you're on the right track, Helen. And I want to get you back on in the future and do a part 2, because I think this could be quite cool to recap, see where you are.
See where we've been.
See where we end up.
That reunion.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks again for listening to today's episode of the RAG podcast. If you haven't already, please do subscribe wherever you listen to this show, as the more subscribers we get, the more people will listen and the more recruitment owners we can help. As a recruitment founder, you must know that things are changing. AI is everywhere. Cold outreach is getting harder, and job boards, well, they're not what they used to be. But personally, despite the negativity, I believe the future is the greatest opportunity of our lifetime in recruitment, because for the first time ever, a founder with 5 recruiters with a clear niche and the right systems can build the kind of influence, reach, and profitability that used to take 500 recruiters and a global office network. The agencies that are winning right now aren't necessarily the biggest, but they are the most visible, the most trusted, and the ones building inbound demand. At Hoxo, we're working with clients who are running multiple 6 and 7 figures in net profit, outperforming the negative noise and headlines. So, to explain what these guys are doing, I've created a brand new free masterclass video for RAG listeners. In this video, it's less than 10 minutes long. I'm going to show you what these businesses are doing differently from the rest. So the link's in the description. Fill in the form, watch the video, and see exactly how this system that these clients are using could work for your agency. Good luck.